Sure, we know Russell Crowe can be a great actor when he puts his mind to it. But what about a director? The Water Diviner is the name of the movie Russell Crowe's directorial debut, I think, telling us a story of a man in Australia whose sons go off to fight in a war around the turn of the century, I should say the turn of into the 20th century, early 1900s. And what happens to the family after that and how he goes after them to find them knowing that they are likely dead. It is a deep and introspective story, one that is dark and difficult at times, but one that is pretty interesting. I have to say, overall, decent job, Russell. Decent job making a pretty good movie here. Now, it's not a great movie, and we'll get into more of that here in a second. First, though, here's what I loved about it. I love this story. I'm a sucker for those stories that take you into like a part of history that you may not know a lot about, and I believe this is World War I kind of stuff, somewhere in that era, and it's this battle between the British and the Turkish. It kind of those cultures clashing, and it has this very interesting political underpinning to it. A lot of that is present here, and I feel like I learned a lot watching this about those relationships. And I love it when you get a sense of how ethnocentric we are in this country. I'm pointing right at myself here, because you look at these other stories and you realize, oh my goodness, every other country has these vast and amazing histories to explore and look into. That's what I loved about this, is exploring that, looking into that. And I think the heart and emotion, because of that, works very well with this man. And it's interesting because it's taking this metaphor of looking for water in the desert and applying it to looking for family when you believe that they're lost. And I found that pretty engaging and pretty real. Performances are good. They do a good job. Here's the issue. Let's go ahead and get into it. It's really dry, and it's a real slog. A lot of this movie takes place in a desert. That's what the movie feels like at times, like a desert, like you're trying to find some sustenance to really pull you along that isn't painful. Because there's a lot about this movie that is dark and painful, and not a lot of it lets up. So you kind of go through the process, and you're as dry as a desert. So it feels boring, and you kind of have to slog through it. And it's just this, it's a movie that you complete with perseverance, not joy, if that makes any sense. And I found that to be a little bit depressing and to drag down the proceedings a little bit. It's not awful. It's not great. It's somewhere in the middle. I'd say The Water Diviner probably ends up right around, I'm going to go ahead and say C+, give it on the high side of average, because it has some pretty decent flaws and also some pretty decent things. So that's The Water Diviner. One I think you might want to check out if you love a look at history. It's an interesting way to see that perspective. Let's just say that. Thank you for checking out this review. There's certainly plenty more. In fact, if you click the eye up in this corner, you'll see some other reviews. Also a chance to send $1 to my way. A chance there to check out the website as well. Also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that's down in the lower left-hand corner. You click the little logo there, and you'll be able to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new reviews. And as always, I will give you 5 extra seconds here to do so.